The Falcon and the Winter Soldier Episode 6, the series finale. That is it for this show until they announce more episodes, if they do for a second season, which I think they should do, and I'll talk about that in a separate video. But this is it. This is the finale. I want to talk to y'all about it. Now, first of all, I want to apologize for last week's review. It was not my best review at all, and I was very disappointed in myself. I missed the post-credit scene or the mid-credit scene or whatever, and I also kept calling Isaiah Bradley Lamar. Like, I'm sorry, Lamar Isaiah Bradley. I messed that up completely. I was tired, I apologize for that. So I'm going to bring you the best review I could possibly do for episode 6 of The Falcon and Winter Soldier. So, as expected, where we left off was, Sam has a new suit. And we see it in complete action here in this episode. This episode right here was the resounding conclusion to the arc that began at the very end of Endgame, where the Falcon was handed the shield by Steve Rogers, and at the beginning of this show, he wasn't sure if he could handle it, wasn't sure if he really could be Captain America, and would rather nobody be Captain America, but now he's come to realize that he needs to step up and be Captain America, despite all of the problems that the government has caused in the past, both the U.S. and outside forces. It's the right thing to do to protect the people and to represent what America used to be and maybe bring it back to prominence. And that's pretty much what happened here, especially throughout the episode. Sam, the first half of this episode was all action. Big battle it was actually pretty cool because it was at night. And whenever these movies have night fight scenes or night battle scenes or night action scenes, they usually have a really good look to them. It's a nice different aesthetic. No sunlight. It just has a different look. And the battle with the Flag Smashers is pretty much like what happened here. They had to stop Carly and her gang from, causing more damage. And, they had a lot of really good action sequences with the Falcon and with his shield. I guess they're calling him Captain Falcon, right? Not from Smash or from Nintendo, but, that's pretty much what he is. There are things that I liked about this episode and things I did not like about this episode. Okay, some of the things that I didn't like, many of you may not agree with. Some of the things you may agree with. We'll get to it here in a minute. But I did really like, I'm talking about the pros. I really liked Anthony Mackie, I think, stepped up in this episode. And because I wasn't sure if he could really be like a leading man as the Falcon. But he really did step up here. Not just in the action, but also in the acting department. In addition to that, everybody kind of had their role, but they crammed a lot in. And to me, the MVP of this episode was Bucky. I think Bucky was the MVP as far as acting goes, right? But there really wasn't much for him to do. I was expecting there to be a lot more for him to do here. And there was a lot more for him to have done in the previous episode. And that's one thing about this episode that I will say is that they had the chess pieces all getting ready to be put together with Sharon Carter and, the fact that she's, not what she appears to be. And then with the sort of plot with the U.S. agent and his arc after what happened to Lamar and what they were doing with Bucky. Ultimately, by the time this is over, now that the series is over, or at least the season is over, the character arcs of the Winter Soldier and now the new Captain America were indeed completed. At the end of the episode, Winter Soldier confessed to the murder of his I don't remember the gentleman's name, the older Asian gentleman's son from the very first episode. And then, Sam finally accepted the fact that he is Captain America now, and he's going to do the best he can. The new suit looks great. Action sequences were fine. No problem there. I think the fight in the last episode was probably more exciting for me, but this was fine. This was very well done. GSP kind of went out like a punk, in my opinion, and the Sharon Carter thing with her being the power broker, I don't really know where this is coming from. Maybe I missed something, but I feel like there's not enough of an explanation about how she got here, like why she's doing this. And I hope that we get that in the future because it was, I don't know if it's going to be left a mystery on purpose or if maybe they're going to, explain it in the future, because this story is definitely not over. I mean, we got more stuff coming now that Falcon is the new Captain America. He will be involved with the Avengers. We will see Sam come back and maybe Bucky, and we'll see what happens there. Zemo, he got his ultimate revenge at the end. The whole car bombing thing was his sort of plot. At least that's the way it was implied. And he didn't do anything in this episode. I was wondering if we were done with him this season. But he was there, and he did get his revenge, or whatever you want to call it. He did take out the Flag Smashers. There's no more super soldiers left. The arc of the U.S. agent, by the end of this episode, he finally was called the U.S. agent, wearing the black and the red, white, and blue. And that was cool. I liked it because at the end, he had not selfish, that's not the right word, but he had self-centered motivations to get revenge on the Flag Smashers, and he, showed up and did what he needed to do. But at the end of the day, ultimately he became the U.S. agent, and that's going to be a character we're going to be looking at going forward. Now, will he be a part of the Avengers and work with Falcon? I don't know, but the reason why I think they've set this up perfectly for a second season is because, if they're going to do 6 more episodes just like this, you still got players involved. You still got the Sharon Carter storyline, which is part of the mid-credit scene or the post-credit scene, where she got pardoned. And then she gets on the phone and she's like, I got some government secrets. So she is obviously going to be leaking out information. To whom? To whom? That is the question. She's not a good guy. Very selfish motivations there. And the U.S. agent's been established, and now Cap is now Sam. So they have set up things for the future if they want to, go through with it. Now, I think the most powerful part of this episode was the Isaiah Bradley Memorial Trophy at the end, like how he did something, Sam was inspired by Isaiah's story in the previous episode and took him, and they did a whole, mural, a whole sort of little, like I said, little exhibit at the museum to respect his contributions to the United States. That was a beautiful scene, and the way that actor, the way he emotes, the way his eyes were, tremendous, really good stuff. Giving Sam the hug, I really, really like that. Really, really like that part, and it's a good character arc for him. So all the story arcs are pretty much completed here, but there's still more to come in the future. Carly's death was something I was kind of expecting, but I thought would be at the hands of Zemo. Yeah, I was wrong because Zemo did take out some super soldiers at the end with that bomb. If that was him, it's implied it was him, but maybe it wasn't. That's the thing. But it's implied though that it was him. But then again, it could have been Dreyfus, and we'll see. But what I was going to say was one of the things that I thought kind of maybe weighed this episode down is that. I could see some people thinking maybe too preachy. Like the scene where Sam is just talking and that monologue he gives, it felt a little bit rushed, but also the writing on that I thought could have been a little bit tighter. It did kind of come off a little bit preachy, even though I do kind of understand where he's coming from about how governments, and a lot of it was very social political. A lot of undertones here. The government tends to label people. He even used the word thug, which is what the government has historically labeled black people when they want to, not use the N-word. That's literally the word that has been used by people. And that's interesting, and I respect that. I think it might have gone on a bit too long. And the fact that everybody was watching and it wasn't even a public speech, that was weird to me. I thought that was a little bit weird. There are parts of this story that I felt were a bit underwhelming. GSP's death was underwhelming. Zemo not doing anything here was underwhelming. Carly's death, the fact that she apologized at the end was a little weird, even though I know why they did that. It was a bit predictable, but it could have been executed a little bit more creatively, I feel. And the end with Sam celebrating with his family was cool, and Bucky being there, and I wish Bucky had more to do in this episode. I really do. I was hoping there'd be a really good team up between them, and maybe a little bit more action. The fight between Falcon and Carly was fine, even though I think the fight with the U.S. agent in the previous episode was better. So, it's one of those things where did this stick the landing? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about this because I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I did like it, but I think there are certain things they could have done to make it better. Does that make sense? Like I liked it, but it wasn't the explosive season finale I was hoping for. It was also only about 50 minutes or so, 45 minutes. It was not like a 2-hour finale. People thought it was going to be a 2-hour finale. It wasn't, which I was okay with, but it really didn't tease that many new things coming except for Sharon Carter's storyline and the U.S. agent being the U.S. agent now. And, outside of that, the writing was fine, but I think they could have tightened up some things in certain spots to make it better, in my opinion. Visually, it was great, of course. Sound effects were great. It is meant to be seen on a big TV with surround sound, so if you have that, definitely utilize it. But I'll be doing a series or a season, whatever, review on the Falcon and Winter Soldier probably this weekend as I look back on the events that happened and what I think about it. There was a lot of really powerful stuff, and it's kind of interesting that kind of stuff was discussed this week, with what's been going on in the news. But it was good though. The Isaiah Bradley thing was the best thing, I think. Seeing his statue there and what Sam did for him, it was a beautiful scene, and it really did wrap up the kind of man that Sam's become, because he is a black Captain America, the Black Falcon, and he's going to represent Captain America proudly because Captain America does not have to be blonde hair, blue eyes, or super soldier. And that was good stuff, That was a good message. I really think it was. Overall, thumbs up episode, albeit it was a bit of a letdown. It was a little... I expected more, maybe because I think that MCU finales are usually big, but WandaVision's finale was also like, same feeling. I didn't hate it, but it could have been executed a lot better. What did you think? Let me know. I'll talk to you soon.